Please stand, salute the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mrs. Brahowski.
Ms. Moser? Here. Dr. Laughlin? Here. Mrs. Haynes? Here. Mr. Cummings is absent. Mr. Merle D. Music?
Here.
Mr. Merle L. Music?
Here.
Mr. Repko?
Here.
Dr. George?
Here.
And Mr. Hauser?
Here. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our solicitor, Mr. Naples.
We had an executive session, the members of the board held at 6:30 today. There were 3 matters discussed under safety and security. We discussed transportation issue that's being resolved. Under personnel, we discussed item 96 on your agenda, which is being voted on tonight. And under legal, we discussed a tax assessment appeal, which was discussed last week and which will be on the agenda to be voted on tonight. If I could just add, we have visitors and we'd like to welcome you all. When we have hearing of visitors, we normally have a 3-minute time period, so I wanted to let you know that right away. I normally let you finish up if you're right at the 3 minutes. One of the more difficult things that I do as a solicitor is cut people off while they're talking. I hate doing that. It seems to me to be very rude, but we try to make it fair for everybody. So as you approach the 3 minutes at about 2.5, I'm just going to put my pen up to tell you that there's about half a minute left. And if I do have to interrupt you, please forgive me. I don't mean to be rude by it, but I really appreciate it if we can keep it to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Naples. At this time, I'd like to open the floor up to hearing of visitors part 1. This is where anyone in the audience can stand up at the podium, state your name and address, and speak of anything that is on the agenda for this evening. Seeing no one, I move for adoption of resolution number 75, approval of the minutes.
Second.
Motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Solicitors report, Mr. Naples.
I recommend that you move on resolution number 76, the approval of tax appeal settlements.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Education and Planning, Mrs. Mays.
Yes, thank you. I will move for adoption of resolution number 77 to approve 6th grade camp program and dates for the next school year 23.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
The next 5 resolutions under my part of the agenda are all agreements that we passed near the beginning of the school year. So I am just going to bundle them in one group. So I will be moving for adoption of resolutions number 78 through 82.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
I also move for the adoption of resolution number 83 to approve Pennsylvania Youth Survey distribution.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
I move for adoption of resolution number 84 to approve overnight and out-of-state field trips planned for the school year. And they are all listed with all the details that you need to know. So I move for adoption of that.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Holliday.
Finance. I move for adoption of resolution number 85 to approve treasurer's report.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? And that motion passes. I move for adoption of resolution number 86 to approve payment of bills.
Second.
Motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? And that motion passes. I move for adoption of resolution number 87, gifts, grants, and donations as listed.
Second.
A motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments?
I'd just like to again thank Greater Lutheran Partners in Education Foundation for their continued support of our district.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? That motion passes. I'll move for adoption of resolution number 88 to award management print service contract.
Second.
A motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? That motion passes. I move for adoption of resolution number 89, authorization to engage professional services.
Second.
A motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Wait 1 minute. We're going to do a roll call, I'm sorry. Mrs. Brohonski.
Dr. Loughlin.
Yes.
Mrs. Maines.
Yes.
Mr. McConnell is absent. Mr. Merle Music.
No.
Mr. Merle L. Music.
No.
Mr. Rucko.
No.
Dr. Zorch.
Yes.
Mrs. Kozer.
Yes.
And Mr. Hubbard.
Yes. That motion. That motion passes. I move for adoption of resolution number 90 to approve dynamic back optimization services agreement with Siemens Industry Incorporated.
Second.
A motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. I move for adoption of resolution number 91, authorization to engage professional services.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? Mrs. Brohonski, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Maines.
Yes.
Mr. McConnell is absent. Mr. Merle D. Music.
No.
Mr. Merle L. Music. Mr. Rucko.
No.
Dr. Zorch.
Yes.
Mrs. Kozer.
Yes.
Dr. Loughlin.
Yes.
And Mr. Hauser.
Yes,
That passes.
and that motion passes. Our Facilities Operation Planning Committee meeting minutes are attached. Our next Facilities Operation Planning Committee meeting will be Thursday, November 9th at 3 p.m. at the admin building. Student Activities and Recreation, Mr. Music.
Thank you. No reports. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Motion on the floor to approve resolution number 92, which is to approve the regular trail girls wrestling club for grades 7 through 12.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? And that motion passes.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Music. Community Relations, Mrs. Maines.
Yes, thank you. Next regular Latrobe Parks and Recreation Commission meeting will be held this coming Thursday, October 19th at 4:30 p.m. in the Latrobe Municipal Building.
Just go ahead and move on.
The next WMU committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 24th at 7 p.m. in the Fred Rogers Room at the WMU.
Thank you, Mrs. Maines. PWCTC Joint Operating Committee, Mrs. Cozart.
Yes, our next CWCTC Joint Operating Committee meeting will be Wednesday, October 25th, at 7 p.m. at PWCTC.
Thank you, Mrs. Cozart. Transportation, Mr. Music.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Music. Board Policy Liaison, Mrs. Cozart.
Yes, I move for adoption of resolution number 93 to approve the final adoption and approval of board policies as listed below.
A motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? And that motion passes. Technology, we have no report this evening. Superintendent's recommendations.
I ask the board to move on resolution number 94, the resignations as listed. And I would like to note Lee Smollett's her retirement effective December 20th. Bee has been a part of our food service department for many years, and I always liked interacting with her at the junior high school, and she will be missed.
Second.
A motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? That motion passes.
I ask the board to move on resolution number 95 to approve professional personnel. We have one substitute teacher listed.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? That motion passes.
I ask the board to move on resolution number 96 to approve support personnel classified as listed.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? That motion passes.
Ask the board to move on resolution number 97 to approve support personnel. There is a supplemental appointment correction.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? And that motion passes.
I ask the board to move on resolution number 98 to approve school clubs, officers, advisors, and advisor salaries as attached.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and second. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? That motion passes.
In other business, the Senior High School Drama Club is presenting Father of the Bride. That's on the 20th and the 21st of this week in the auditorium. If you're interested, see Mrs. Brohosky for tickets. The end of the first quarter for grades 9 through 12 is Monday the 30th. The end of the first trimester, K through 8, is November the 21st. We have a 2-hour late start for grading purposes on Tuesday, October the 31st. Parent-teacher conferences are scheduled Thursday, November the 9th. We are off on Veterans Day, that's November the 10th. And we have an Act 80 Day, no school for students on Monday, November the 13th. That includes parent-teacher conferences in the elementary schools only. We have an early dismissal the Wednesday before Thanksgiving break, followed by break, which is Thursday the 23rd through the 27th, and another 2-hour late start for the purposes of grading on November the 28th. And just one note, we have one board meeting in November. That's here in the CSC on the 14th. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kremka. At this time, I'd like to open the floor up for hearing of visitors part 2. This is where anyone in the audience can go to the podium, state your name and address, and speak of any concerns you may have with the district.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Carrata. I live at 508 Tyler Street, Latrobe, and I'm a 1968 graduate of this high school. There's been a lot of talk going on about new school buildings being built at a cost of anywhere between $100 million and $200 million. I would like to know how you plan on financing that.
We had a meeting last month where we talked about the millage increase that would take to cover the new junior high school and any renovations or additions to the senior high school.
Okay, I wasn't here for that, so
I understand.
could you revamp that and say how much would the millage increase be? Like first year, is this going to be like spread out over 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, or is it going to be a millage increase every year?
So it would be a millage increase every year, somewhere between 2 mils, 2.5 mils, or less over the next 15 years.
Every year it's going to go up another 2 mils.
No, I didn't say 2 mils every year. I said somewhere between 2, 2.5, and down.
Okay, so over 15 years, did you say?
10 to 15 years.
10 to 15 years. So then at the end of, say, 10 years, the minimum, it's going to be a 20 mil increase.
Yeah, I think it was, what, 22 total? Yes. Right? Yes, 22 total.
Okay, and that converts to exactly how much per household?
For an average taxpayer, 1 mil equals $27 in increased taxes.
Okay. Is there any other type of money coming in to buffer the cost of these buildings? Any grants, any types of donations, any types of, anything else coming in that would help?
There used to be a process through the Commonwealth called PlanCon, where we could seek reimbursement for construction costs. That program doesn't exist anymore, although I heard a legislative update last week at a superintendent's meeting that they are hoping to jumpstart that process again. But otherwise, we may look at grants for some of the environmental parts of this project, but no, sir.
Okay, this is a little bit of supposition, but supposedly the reason for all these new buildings and new fields and all these new facilities is to draw more people into the area. Is that part of the philosophy behind these increases?
Well, I think that we're looking to update the educational environment for our kids to match 2023 standards. We have a decreasing enrollment, okay, in the district. So one of the reasons we're looking to replace the junior high is because right now it's not full, okay? We're carrying about 150,000 square feet of unutilized space in the district. So we are looking to right size, in addition to creating an educational environment that matches the education that's going on in the world right now.
If that's the case, then don't you think a bigger draw for people into the area would be lower taxes instead of a better building?
I think better education is a draw for people to come into the area.
Well, does a building necessarily mean better education?
It sure does, sir.
Well, I might have a little bit of a difference of opinion on that.
And I understand that you might have a difference of opinion on that, but I would point to Latrobe Elementary School, which has created a 21st century learning environment for our kids that isn't matched at Bagley or Mountain View right now. And I would love to take you through that building to show you how that building matches the education that goes on every day in those classrooms. Because it does transform education, sir.
Well, that's great if it really does, there's nobody who's going to object to that. But again, the taxpayers have to be kept in mind too. How much does the taxpayers have to foot that bill when they don't even have children that are in school?
I understand that, but the better education is going to create higher property values for us, sir. And I would think that people want to move into a district where education is excellent and their property values continue to go up, not down.
Do you have any figures to say as to how many more people, families moved into the area since the elementary school was built, or has it decreased?
It is actually increased.
By how much?
I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I will tell you we have families moving into the city of Latrobe specifically to go there. One of the things that we wanted to do when we built that elementary school was to lessen the transient population there, and we have seen more families moving into that area.
It's like this, kids, you still, as good as that sounds for education for kids and whatever, if it really turns out like that, there's still a concern of people that are struggling, with all the other increases in their taxes, increases in cost of living, increases in everything that you turn around with today, and some people, it could actually put them underwater.
Sir, can you go ahead and wrap up your talk? I let you go longer because Mr. Premker was talking as well, so if you don't mind summarizing and finish up.
No, that was just my concern. I'm trying to be open-minded about this, but it's kind of hard to fathom all the increase in taxes for something that I really don't see the return on. That's,
Mr. Crowd, I totally understand where you're coming from with that, and I understand the burden goes to the taxpayer, but that's the funding formula for public education in the Commonwealth, sir.
I understand how you create a budget. You find out how much the budget is, then you see how much assessed value you have to draw from. And that's what I'm just worried about, because I'm not sure that 2.5 mil is going to be the end figure when it's all said and done. And if that goes up every year, you're talking about an increase where people's incomes are either stagnant or decreasing. So
actually, the research shows that incomes are going up in our school district. So they increased by about 14% in the last census.
Okay, well then,
And sir, if I could, I'd like to direct you to the future, on the Greater Latrobe School District website, there's a tab at the top of the page that says Future Ready.
Future GLSD.
Future GLSD. And in there is the entire PowerPoint presentation that was made to the public, so you can see exactly. It shows what our millage rate is comparable to other school districts in the county, where we are. We're 5th lowest, but our ranking as far as the success and the academic achievement of our students is A. What are the numbers? We're 15th in Western Pennsylvania. So you're getting a really good return on your dollar. Okay? And the other part of that website section, it also shows you exactly what the millage increases will be over the 15 years, per year.
Because I was trying to look for figures and stuff like that. I couldn't
That's
find it.
where you'll find it.
Mr. Prada, if you would like to come in, I would sit down with you in my office and go through the presentations.
It's very clear.
If you call Mrs. Brodsky tomorrow, we'll schedule a meeting and I'll go through the numbers.
Yeah, I'm trying to be open-minded, but
And I
just because
appreciate
my
that.
knee-jerk reaction is, what the hell are you guys doing?
And I appreciate
And
that.
like I said, like I said,
If you would like to come in, I'd make time for you any day of the week. Just call Mrs. Brodsky tomorrow, we'll schedule something.
okay, so
Thank you.
I'll fit it into my busy time schedule.
Thank you.
Every day's a Saturday for you, right?
Sort of.
Good job.
Anyone else?
Mark Wario, 800 Livier Street, Latrobe. I just want to say one thing. When you brought up how low we are in millings and how good our education is, why do we need to build on it? We're already high. You're right. We're number
You're
one
getting a
now.
hell of a,
My son's-
deal.
my-
But you're also paying for 150,000 square feet to be heated, to be roofed, to be maintained.
the next-
It's not being used.
There's got to be repair to it instead of adding more money to the
Yeah,
building.
and
That's the repair we can
the
do.
difference between repairing and building new was so minuscule that it didn't make sense to keep maintaining buildings that were not fulfilling.
But you guys said the same
our
thing about the junior high when it moved out to junior high, the middle school in Latrobe. And that building's already done pretty much for barely anything of what they said it would cost. So my
Yeah,
point is.
the unfortunate part of that is education and buildings in education require a higher standard than what that company's in. No, wait a minute, let me finish.
Okay.
They're able to do things in that building that we are not permitted to do.
Okay, that might be, I can see that a little bit, but I can't see the difference of the millions of dollars there. The other thing is,
What was your question about LES, Mark?
what's that?
You said something about LES.
No, I mean, they went in there, and I know that basically the money he put into it, and like Eric said, maybe not in exactly, but it can't be millions of dollars of difference. There was no way. There was no way it was. And my thing is, you guys, Greater Latrobe's great. Both my kids graduated with 4.0 averages. I love Mr. Kremka. I think he's the guy we need to have here, no doubt about it. Don't know all you guys that well. My kids at Postman, they did really well. And I guess the dilapidated old crappy buildings are floating around.
But Mark,
And the thing is Mike, I have a business Latrobe.
I understand.
And I know what it's going to do to it. I've talked to tons of people already. They want to move. I don't know if they have the money to move and things like that. They don't want to pay these taxes. And nobody does.
I respect that.
Why can't we put it out like a referendum, let the people vote? Let it come, I don't know if you do that or not. Why not let them have the say? Because your jobs are to represent the people.
Yep.
And I don't think you are. With the people I talk to, 99% no. 99% find a less way to cut the costs and do something like that. And again, my business, I've been here for 103 years. I paid 103 years of taxes from my grandfather, my father, and now me. And very proud of that. And the thing is, and don't mind doing anything. But this school district's a great school district as it is. And you're already going to say that we're here as far as the buildings go, and here as far as education goes. I'm okay with that. You guys done a great job to get to that point.
Yeah. The only thing I would say to you, though, Mark, is the decision that the board is making, and remember, the board's elected to represent the taxpayers,
Yeah.
okay, which is why it doesn't go to referendum, okay?
Yeah.
But the decision that the board made last month isn't for today. And it's not, honestly, it's not for Corey. It's not even for my kids. We're
Yeah.
looking into the future.
Exactly.
And what we need to do to our buildings so that they are ready for the future. Remember, there were two options before the board. The first option, option 0,
Mhm.
was to just maintain our buildings. We were looking at what, Kurt, $110 million? 92, just to maintain them, just to keep them the way you
Yeah,
want to,
yeah.
right? So the board authorized to go further. to transform the environments, to make them ready for 2030, for 2040, and not just.
So if it's 90 or 110, what does that get you?
That's-
Does that buy you a couple years, that buy you 30, what's it buy you? You know what I mean?
It might buy us 20 years.
Well,
but it doesn't-
you're talking about an $80 million difference in that place, right? Pretty much in somewhere in there?
Nah.
So if you get 20, 30 years out, maybe business move into town, maybe more people come that way. But Mike, I understand like having a good system's great.
Yeah.
I don't see people moving in for that. People are moving in for education important, but also for jobs and things like that, which we're not creating. As Westmoreland County, they just said that's stuck in Westmoreland County. We're bleeding people. And the only way to bring people back is jobs and things like that, which is kind of out of our control a little bit. You know what I mean? You can only do so much with that. And my thing is like, look at Pitt's putting $100 million into their schools. Well, Pitt's privately funded through their students and publicly funded through the state and things like that. They're only doing $100 million. Latrobe School District that has, I graduated 500 people, you're sitting at 300 now. You're sitting right around 3. We're going to have all this money into more than the University of Pitt's going to do for, I don't think, and the idea is great, Mike, and again, the hardest thing to do is argue about the tax when this is a great school district. I have no problems with everything. Athletics are good. All your academics are good. Kids are, my kids walked out here very round, but both have done very well. Hopefully we'll get out of college soon, well, at least the one, but they've done very well. And it's because of what you guys done. So you guys, you guys are very proud of all you guys. You guys did a great job. But when you go to the common taxpayer, all of us are going to have to look at our business and look, where am I going to pull the money out to pay more taxes? And it's already spring. Latrobe's, if you look at the study, Latrobe's a depressed area. Where if you look at the tax base, we're considered depressed right now. And again, because people aren't moving here. So there's got to be some alternatives, at least some ideas about alternatives. Show the vote, get the alternatives out, start over and see what else is available.
But we spent 18 months looking at alternatives.
Yeah, but again, it wasn't really brought up till the last meeting, and I didn't even know about that.
No, it was.
Well, I know, I meant like for a vote. And again,
Right, but we had 18.
if we put 200 people in this building, and we could do it easily, would that change anybody? We put 500 in, it could be done easily. You probably get a couple thousand in, because people are just starting to find out about this. A lot of people didn't know about this.
But what I'm trying to say is, we had 18 months of public meetings with representatives from the public.
Okay.
It wasn't just the school district.
Okay,
We had people from the public, we had teachers, we had parents, we had everybody. For
and
16 meetings, 2 meetings. a
and
month.
the consensus was to do it, correct?
Well, the consensus was the 2 options.
Well, then try it again. Try it again one more time,
Let me
put it
finish.
to a vote,
Let me finish.
and I guarantee you it loses. I'm not going to interrupt, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How many people were here?
How many people here already had those meetings?
40 to 50,
Yeah, well-
sometimes 60.
Well, do you want a couple thousand? We could probably do it.
We advertised for 18 months.
Okay, so.
That's how many showed up.
So 2
So
more
I don't
months.
believe you could have 5,000.
So for a couple more months, high school's gonna fall over, is something gonna fall down. So do it again. Obviously, you guys can all see, get on Facebook, all that. You can see that everyone's not for it.
Mark, can you just
Okay,
summarize?
so why don't we open something up again? The biggest thing, they're gonna wanna try to vote people out. The problem with that, when you do write-ins, if you don't spell the guy's name right, it's shell. So that's gonna be a hard thing, so why not open it up while people are starting to know about it?
And Mark, I would say this. This was something we were talking about pre-pandemic.
Yeah, I
And it
understand.
got shelved because of the pandemic.
Yeah, what happened,
And
yeah.
I totally get it, right? The reason that the board voted in September is because the cost of everything continues to go up. The
Yeah,
cost of LES was $32 million in 2017, right?
Yeah.
2018 when it opened. The cost to build that building today is what, 72,
72,000.
74?
yeah, a lot of things, yeah, you're right.
But like,
So waiting is really an option.
yeah,
See, I don't think 6 months, just one more tour, 6 months doesn't make, what are you gonna do? So if it does go, it's just more for the taxpayers to pay. So what's the difference with it? We're already gonna be put bad one anyhow, correct?
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the thing with it is you're gonna take more people out of here than bring people in. So you're gonna have a $200 million building for 250 people, for 200 people?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
If they would have let you talk,
Thank you.
we can interrupt you.
Yeah.
That's how
Hello.
we do it.
My name's Keith Willishell. I live at 3039 Benvenue Drive, Greensburg, in the district. My question is, what's your plan if the bids come in over budget? You budgeted $200 million and
because I worked on the Hemfield bid for a company I worked for, and everything come back higher than estimated cost. So what's the plan? If everything comes back over, do you vote for more money, or is it scrapped? Or?
Well, I would say this are the numbers that we went through in the presentations, okay? And I just heard $200 million. We were never at $200 million. It was anywhere between what, Kurt?
Maybe from 127,
Yeah.
187.
187.
Yeah, that was the whole.
That's the whole thing. So, and again, let's talk about these numbers. These are projected numbers, not today's dollars. So we're projecting like the 7-8 building not to be done for at least 3 to 4 years. So we're projecting costs 4 or 5 years in the future with inflation. So these numbers aren't today's, we're spending $150 million today. This is projection on when the actual work will be completed, when we may go out to bid, which for any type of project, we're still 18 months away. We haven't begun, we have passed 2 resolutions today to begin conversations with architectural firm and engineering to plan and design. So we still have at least 18 months of that process. And through that process, we'll have resolutions on estimating what the budget is for that project and then approval by the board to move forward. Now, bidding is going to be at least 2025 for the large 7-8 type project. We may have hybrid projects at the high school as far as improvements that need to happen, new boiler plant, new rooftop units, new positive electrical systems, HVAC, those types of things. We may do hybrids throughout the summers. But none of that work has been designed or even planned yet to move forward. So as far as bidding, we won't go out to bid without knowing a good budget and knowing that the number we're putting out there is going to be feasible when it comes to bid.
Okay, I've bid 7 HVAC projects in the last 2 years for school districts. They were all over budget. So, you know, I don't know, I guess the money that goes out for these studies and everything, you know, some of them never happen, so it's just like wasted money. I know the high school, I worked on a renovation here in 0203. I didn't need it. I don't know if your boilers are still from the 60s or not. There's a lot of issues that need addressed. So after the new middle school is built, is that when we go back and ask for more money for a new high school or more new boilers?
No, we need a new high school
project. So we've laid out basically a roadmap to the dollars we're talking about to address our entire district. The first phase, we've been looking at either 7-8 or renovations to the high school. The second phase is vice versa. So we're still going back and forth how to attack the renovation at the high school and the 7-8 building to replace the junior high. Phase 3, which we have not come to any sort of agreements as far as the board, my understanding, is what to do with those 2 buildings in the future.
At the elementary building, around here back.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else?
I have a question. This is just pure curiosity because you mentioned it.
Say, could you tell us your name?
Oh, hi, I'm Heather Siegel. Just live here in Bayshore, Washington Street. You mentioned that the kids at LES are having significant benefit from the new school and educational benefit from that particular investment. Could you address what those benefits are? Like, how is it playing out in kids?
Extended learning environments, small group instruction areas.
Well, that's what the school has, but you said there's results now. Like, where are the results?
I would ask you just to walk through LES and talk to any staff member who teaches in that building, or better yet, go and talk to a staff member from Mountain View who teaches summer school in that building, and ask them how that building fits what they do instead of the buildings that they're in.
Okay, so it's not like you're seeing quantifiable test results in these kids compared to the kids in the other buildings, or like how it's expressing itself in the children as they move through the education system?
I mean, how it's expressing itself in children?
Yeah, like you said, there's significant benefits from the investment we made in the school. And you're listing,
I can
like,
tell you.
oh, we did this and we did that, but like, I'm wondering, what were the benefits? Are the kids getting better test scores? Or is it just that everybody feels like it's better? Or is there something specific you can point to?
Well, I would say this, they're getting between 6 and 9 days of more instruction because of the efficiencies of the building.
That's significant.
That is.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing.
I understand.
And I will tell you when we had, because one of the groups that we had for our meetings were student groups. We had elementary, middle, or junior high and high school students. And you knew every LES kid who stood up to speak because they mentioned, well, in our learning group and in our STEM room and in our this and in our that, none of Bagley or Mountain View kids knew what they were talking about, let alone, and they've completely absorbed that as their education.
Right. Well, that
It's
is
only
really
fair
good.
we have it for the others.
Yeah, that is really good.
I mean, it makes them confident, they're very literate in that whole environment, they understand how it benefits them.
Are they like better at public speaking? Like
All our kids are amazing at public speaking, I'm gonna tell you. I
I
have not met a literate kid
That's a
who
huge
is.
benefit in it.
It is, it's huge.
That is the kind of thing I was asking.
You should come to all our meetings when our students stand up and speak, or when we have students come in, they're phenomenal.
Oh,
Every one of them.
just learned in local politics.
Oh.
Just started to sit in and absorb, but I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, no pressure you two for next time.
Yeah, really. I'm very good.
I'm sorry, I'm Amy Martin, president of now, 1 Slim Avenue. You said it is benefiting all the kids at LES. Well, guess what? My kids both have disabilities, and I'm telling you that how they've been treated, thank God for Gino. Honest to God, we would have moved out a long time ago. The way my kids have been treated, my son's not even a public speaker. He has speech apraxia. Let me tell you that there is stuff lacking in that school, and I'm not going to call out anybody. There is a lot lacking in that school. So you can't tell me that it benefits every single child. How are you going to go tell my 7-year-old with speech apraxia that, oh, you're just in the school, but it's benefiting everybody else? That's not fair to him. What about my 5-year-old with autism? It's not benefiting him anymore either. You're looking at the kids that are typical and can get the higher scores. My kid works his butt off. We study hours and hours and hours every single night, all weekend long, plus speech. We do outpatient, we do inpatient. His grades are not improving. So you can't say it's benefiting every child because it's not. It's not benefiting my children at all. I live with 2 kids with disabilities. And every single start of the school year, if it wasn't for Gino, I would have moved out of this school district a long time ago because you are failing my children.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Don Orvage. I live at 1553 Buffermeyer Road. And I'm hearing a lot of things here that confuse me. All right, and I'll be honest, I typically don't pay attention to a lot of these issues. But when you folks vote to spend a lot of my money, my ears perk up and my interest peaks. Okay? I don't understand. A lot of this seems to be speculation on my part. You say you're planning for the future 20 to 30 years from now. How do you know how many students you're going to have 20 to 30 years from now? You don't know what your tax base is going to be 20 to 30 years from now. How can you vote? You made a statement that the new LES is so much better than Mountain View and Bagley. And the lady before me asked, are there improved test scores at LES compared to Mountain View and Bagley? I haven't heard anything about that. You said that people that teach there in the summer like it a lot more than teaching at Bagley and Mountain View. Well, of course they do. It's a brand new building. Why wouldn't they like teaching there better? But why? Well, where is the proof in the pudding that it is better for the kids? Okay? I lived in Ohio most of my life. I graduated from Latrobe in 1982. Alright, I recently moved back to the area 10 years ago. Alright, since that time my taxes have increased quite a bit. Alright, this is my money, okay? There's gotta be better always say, we're gonna raise taxes. All right, that's easy, especially when it's not your money. It's my money. It's all these people's money. All right, well, like I said, everybody likes teaching at LES. Where's the test scores that show us that much better than the other school? All right? And you're planning for the future. Nobody knows what the future is going to be like. All right? How many students are you going to have in 30 years? This school's too big now. All right, so we got to build a whole new school because the new one, or the one we have is too big. Well, tear part of the old or the new one down. All right? You don't maintain it. Close it off, pick it up, be done with it. All right? Like I said, the easiest thing to do is to raise taxes. And it happens way too often. All right? And like I said, I haven't paid much attention up to this point. But moving forward, I sure will. Okay? Because you're spending my money.
Thank you, sir.
Can we ask one more question, or we're done with our time, man?
Go ahead and ask it from there, Mark.
Okay.
Stand up.
Another question, is there anywhere in the budget right now, in the school's budget, where we can cut to make up for some of this?
Not for $130 million.
Okay, there's no room in our budget either, guys. We're all backs to the wall too. I work every day, I work 12-hour days, I work weekends. I have no budget left. All I have in my budget is work harder and do what I can do, live within what I can live within.
Thanks, Mark. You had a question, and
Yeah, well, if you guys don't have the budgets to cut your way, how do you expect us to do it? And that's just strict honesty.
All right, thank you, Mark. Anyone else?
I'd just like to make one more comment, taking into consideration everything that I've heard here tonight from the audience and from the people on the board. I just have a question with the increase in cost for new buildings, to give it higher education, better education for kids, and everything that's going on, and really, there's no proof that the kids are getting a better education according to the test scores, something that's actually tangible, that you can compare apples to apples. I'm just wondering, at what point in time do brick and mortar buildings become irrelevant?
I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. You went about 6 minutes before, and I'm very, very sorry.
Is there a limit on truth in this organization? Can you put a limit on
Anyone
that?
else?
Yeah, exactly. Same as 1968. Good truth. Never changes.
Is there any truth to anything in the organization? Was this last comment?
I can tell you that I've been on this board for a long time, and we are very, very diligent in how we spend money. I wish people would pay more attention to what our budgetary concerns are. There's a lot of, we don't have much discretionary spending in this school district. A lot of what we spend is dictated to us by the state. We have a large budget that just goes to supporting retirement programs for Pennsylvania employees. That takes up a significant part of our budget. We also have been spending a lot more money on disabled students.
No, you haven't.
Our budget has gone up every year for those students, for special needs students. It's a tremendous amount of money that we spend. Not that we don't want to spend it, we want to help every student in this community, so we do. We're also spending money now to improve the Eastern Westmoreland Career Technology Center. We committed a lot of money to that organization because we all know how important technology education is for our community, for people that be ready to get a job when they graduate from high school if they don't want to go to college. So we've made a commitment to that too. So there's a lot of things we've done. I'm going to tell you, when this thing first came out, I thought, how the hell can we justify this kind of money? But then you look at what we're going to have to spend over the next 10 to 15 years just to maintain the buildings that we have. And if anybody's been in that junior high school building, that, as far as I'm concerned, that building was a disaster from the first day I walked in. My kids graduated from that building a long time ago, a 43-year-old, a 40-year-old, and a 37-year-old. So they all went through that junior high school. As far as I'm concerned, it was a piece of garbage back then. I don't know who helped design that building, but it's ridiculous. There's hardly any windows, there's very poor air movement. I'm surprised every kid in this district that went to the junior high didn't end up with COVID because the circulation there is so poor. We spent some money on that too, but we got reimbursed for it to improve the air circulation. But if you look at that building, to try to retrofit that thing into anything that makes sense, I guarantee you, if I had to work in that building every day, I would walk out because it's a joke.
Well, they probably voted for it because they thought
Yeah.
the kids' scores would go
We're gonna throw good money after bad to maintain a building that doesn't make any sense to me. And when I heard the presentations, 16 meetings, I went to a lot of them, and you listen to what people were saying, you listen to what the students were saying, it made sense to me. And I understand a lot of people are pissed off because we're spending tax. I'm a taxpayer too. I don't want to get increases in taxes. Nobody wants to do this. I understand what we have to do to improve education for our kids. And putting them in a substandard building does not make sense to me. When LES, we moved out of LES and built a new LES building. That is a senior high school building. That building was never designed for preschool kids. It was never designed for special needs kids. We threw a lot of money into that building over the years just to retrofit, to allow for special needs kids to be in that building, to make it up to date so that we could have little kids in that building. And then as time went by, it made no sense to keep throwing more money into a building that was never going to be the standards that it should be for elementary kids. So we made a decision back 5 or 6 years ago to do that. That's one of the reasons why I went along with that too, because at some point in time, and I've always said this too, you can teach kids in a shack. If you have great teachers, we're going to get a good education. But how do you get good teachers? How do you draw people to a community? How do you get a community to thrive? And that's to provide the best education you can do. Mrs. May said this to me last week, and I remember too, because I went to the same meeting she did when I first got on board. Nowhere, ever, in any of the things that we heard about being a board member, did anybody say anything about anything except what's best for the students. That was always what was preached to us. What is best for the students? I never said it's best for the students to put them in that crappy junior high school building. I never thought. So that's what we're doing. I mean, that's why I voted for this. And I don't think we should get rid of the 2 elementary schools in the district. I think a local school is what we should have. I think we should have an LES school. I think we should have a Valley school, and I think we should have a Montview school. But that's a future discussion. But as far as this junior high school going there, to keep putting kids into a building that doesn't make any sense. And when you look at the money that's going to be spent just to maintain a piece of crap, why throw it away? We're just throwing it away. As far as I'm concerned, we threw money away on that building the last 10 years to update it. That was ridiculous. At some point, you just got to stop throwing good money after bad.
Mr. Zurich, real quick with LES.
Everybody's had their chance to speak, and,
So one more question, real quick.
No, one more question.
LES, the new building at LES.
Mark,
He's talking
bad enough.
He's talking about the junior high.
Yeah, but the new one.
He was talking about.
$830,000 we just lost.
Mark, we can take it up after the meeting if you want to talk to Dr. Zorich. I'm sure he will.
Okay, thank you.
Talk to you.
And I'd just like to say, I know it's hard and frustrating, it is not easy to raise taxes, and we all do pay taxes, and nobody looks at that and goes, okay, that's the easiest thing for us to do. That's never how this board has looked at this. But I know it's tough to say what's going to happen with the future, and that's the weight we do when we're on the school board. I mean, when I first got on, we had half-day kindergarten here, and we had way more people than this filling that room, and we decided to go full day, and we're discussing it. And parents coming in and moms coming in saying, my child absolutely cannot do a full day at 6 years old. They will never thrive in this. I do not want my child going full day. This is going to be horrible. They're too young. They need naps. And we had gone out, like we did with any decisions we make, to schools that had looked at the research, what's best for the kids. We voted to do full day against a lot of public's opinion on that.
And at this point, it shows those kids, first year, they did not need naps. It was great, they thrived in it, they stayed all day, the teachers got to really take time instead of, hey, get your coat off, have a snack, do something, put your coat back on, get on the half bus. It saved in transportation costs. It was a good thing, but we always have to look at the future. We don't know how many kids will be here in the future. We don't have all the answers, but same thing when we did laptops for all students. We were cutting edge on that, and I'm sure there were a slew of people that said, you're gonna spend what money giving all these kids laptops? What is wrong with paper and pen? I used a typewriter. Why are these kids having to do laptops? Boy, when COVID hit, we hit the ground running. We were the only school district up right away, boom, get the kids. They were all used to using the computers, doing online stuff. And you ask students that got those laptops before other districts, when they graduated and went to college or their jobs right out of school, they were so above and beyond other students being able to do technology. And again, it was rolling the dice when we think from all our best research, this is going to be the best thing for our students, and we always hope that that's going to turn out that way. We can't see the future, you're right. We're looking at it going with the best amount of information we have, this is what we're going to do, and that's the best we can do.
Mr. Nichols, there was a comment made about the settlement from Nello, about being able to pay $832, I think you said, above and beyond. You pay $832,000 above and beyond in that settlement?
No,
Okay.
no.
I just heard that, I just wanted to.
Well, whoever said that's wrong. We actually ended up paying less. I don't have the figures, but we.
It was in the paper, that's what it's read on the paper, that's all.
Yeah, no, it was,
They weren't paid.
yeah, it was about 400,000, yeah. We actually, that was the last payment that we held because there was a dispute. And I believe we actually saved $400,000 or $500,000 off the total cost. I don't have the figures in front of me, but no, we did not pay, we did not pay above that.
Well, what that was caused, maybe you should tell the paper to, retract it.
Sorry?
Maybe you should tell the newspaper to
Well,
retract it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a good thing for everyone to know that, that's all.
okay.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, I move for adoption of resolution number 99, adjournment.